Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Muse. This is October the 15th, 2022. I'm Andy Tempty. Today, we're going to talk about being nice versus being kind. I feel like I have a special permission to talk about this topic because I grew up in the upper Midwest, where Midwest nice, quote unquote, is a real thing that I've heard over my entire life. To define nice versus kind, the quality of being nice is that of being agreeable, that of being polite, that of being conforming to a particular social situation. Being nice is very self-orientated. I'm being nice in order to navigate out of potentially uncomfortable situation that I'm trying to avoid. I might be afraid of rocking the boat. I might be afraid of making a superior angry, and so I'm nice out of fear of rocking the boat. So think about nice as very superficial, for lack of better terminology. In contrast to being nice, being kind is the act of being considerate and being helpful. The concept of benevolence plays very strongly in the topic of kindness. So if being nice is focused on the self and helping the self to feel better about a situation, being kind is the opposite. When you are kind, you are focused on the feelings and the plight of others. And moreover, when you're being kind, you have a willingness and ability to actually do something about the situation. You can affect change. You have the desire to affect change, even if it is uncomfortable and potentially painful mentally to do so, to be kind. Back on May the 28th of this year, my Saturday Morning Muse was all about the concept of compassionate leadership. And in that muse, we teased apart the difference between sympathy, empathy, and compassion. So if you'll bear with me for just a moment, we'll briefly go through those definitions. So when I'm sympathetic, I'm expressing sorrow. I'm expressing pity for someone else. So that is sympathy is very self-centered, self-motivated, very much like niceness is. Empathy, in contrast, is non-judgmental. With empathy, you seek to understand what the other person is going through, what that situation is all about. So again, empathy is the ability to seek to understand, and you're learning through the process of being empathetic. Contrasted with empathy, compassion goes a step further than empathy. Compassion is empathy plus a willingness and ability to do something about the particular situation. And moreover, somebody that expresses a compassion and is willing and able to do something about it is also able to detach themselves from the situation. There's a certain objectivity that is associated with compassion. So if we can then think about sympathy being correlated with niceness, and those are both focused on the self, then compassion and kindness are also highly interrelated and connected with one another. I like to think of kindness and compassion as the higher standard. Now, I'd like to tell a short but but fun story about something that happened in my career that was on the nice side of the equation. So in this, myself and a couple of my business partners went on a trip internationally, and we sat down with another team from another business that was thinking about working with us and doing business with us. So we had a wonderful pitch, a beautiful PowerPoint deck, as you might imagine, and we sat down and we went through our pitch. And all the while, the company on the other side of the table, the individuals were shaking their heads in agreement, muttering, a few niceties, and essentially leading us to believe that they were in agreement with what we had to say. A week later, we get home from this long business trip, and we receive an email from the decision makers of this company saying that they did not agree with anything that we were saying in that meeting. They were not going to do business with us, and moreover, they provided us with absolutely no rationale why, no why behind it, and basically told us to have a nice day in a very passive aggressive fashion. That meeting has always hung with me because it is the definition of being nice. They got out of providing any kind of constructive feedback to us. They did not have to feel uncomfortable at all when we shook hands and parted ways. And so to me, that is the quintessential, the definition of being nice, that avoidance of uncomfortability. So again, that stuck with me for a very, very long time. I'd like to leave you today with a topic that is very important in the world of business, and that is the concept of constructive criticism. We talk a lot about constructive criticism and the benefits of constructive criticism. Well, constructive criticism is a kindness, and you may have heard that. Constructive criticism is not always nice. In fact, constructive criticism can be the opposite of nice in many cases, because you're having a difficult conversation with somebody, but in a very constructive way. Voices are not being raised, and moreover, points of interest are brought out in terms of the why behind a potential disagreement that is occurring within the business or between business partners. So when you are providing constructive criticism, it is one of the greatest kindnesses that you can provide somebody else, because you're really putting yourself out there. The constructive criticism is about the other party. It is not about making you, the individual, feel good, because many times it feels quite crappy to provide constructive criticism. But you know that you're doing the right thing, and you're doing something beneficial in the long run for the other side of the conversation. So please do correlate the concept of constructive criticism with that of compassionate leadership and that of kindness. Now, we're not all going to learn to be kind to one another overnight. This is going to take real work, and your emotional intelligence toolkit really needs a workout to move from nice to kind. And remember, whenever I point one finger in one direction, there's three more that are pointing right back at me. I have been nice in the past to help myself feel better about a particular situation, and to frankly try to make that situation go away, to alleviate that uncomfortability as quickly as possible. Same thing with sympathy. And so please do think of these things, and think about the situations that you may have been in where you've been nice but not kind, where you have not provided constructive criticism and feedback when appropriate. And so we're all going to have to go on a learning journey. Now, fortunately, there are companies out there that are willing and able to help us. One of them that I know down in Australia that I'd love for you to look up is called the Kindness Factory. And my friend Rob Regan, who leads Kaplan down in Australia, he introduced me to the Kindness Factory a few years ago, and I'm really proud of the work that they're doing. But there are others out there that will help you in your business to focus on kindness, compassionate leadership, and working to build those muscles of constructive criticism and constructive feedback. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for engaging with me at andrewtempte.com. We've got the podcast, the Balancing Act podcast. We've got the Saturday Morning Muse, and then my book, Balancing Act. Have a great weekend.